It was a quiet night in the small town of Riverdale. The stars were shining and the air was still. Everything was peaceful. But something strange was about to happen. John, a lonely man in his early 30s, lived at the edge of the forest. His house was small, old, and surrounded by tall trees. He liked silence. He liked to be alone. But that night, something broke the silence. John was sitting on his porch, drinking tea and looking at the sky. Suddenly, he saw a bright light moving fast above the trees. It wasn't a plane. It wasn't a shooting star. It was something else, something strange. The light grew bigger. Then it crashed into the forest behind his house with a loud sound. Boom! The ground shook. Birds flew away in fear. John's heart started to race. He grabbed his flashlight and ran into the woods. The trees were dark and quiet. But soon, John saw a strange glow in the distance. He moved closer carefully. His hands were shaking, but he had to see what it was. When he reached the crash site, his eyes widened. There was no fire, no smoke. Instead, he saw a small silver pod half buried in the ground. It was broken and cracked. Sparks were flying from its sides. And next to it, lying on the ground, was something that made John stop breathing for a second. It was a creature not from this world. She looked like a woman, tall, with pale blue skin, long silver hair, and glowing purple eyes. She was bleeding and weak. She was not alone. 2 small alien children were beside her. Twins. They were holding her arms, crying silently. The alien woman looked up at John. Her lips didn't move, but her voice spoke inside his head. Please help us. They are coming. John stepped back, confused and scared. But the fear in her eyes was real. She was not dangerous. She was just desperate. What happened? He asked, though he knew she wouldn't understand. But the voice came again, clear and soft. We ran. They chased us. I can't protect them alone. Please. Hide us. John didn't know what to do. His mind was spinning. Was this real? Was he dreaming? But then he looked at the children. They were shivering. One of them had small burns on his hand. The other looked too tired to stand. John took a deep breath. Okay. Come with me, he said. He helped the alien woman stand. She could barely walk. John carried one of the twins, while the other followed, holding his leg like a lost puppy. Back at his house, John opened the basement door. It was old and dusty, but warm and hidden. He brought them down and gave them blankets. The mother closed her eyes. She needed rest. The twins sat close to her. They stared at John, afraid but curious. John tried to smile. You're safe here, he whispered, not sure if they understood. He stood in the corner, watching them. This was insane. Aliens, in his basement. And he had just helped them. He heard a soft beep. He turned around. The alien pod, which he had dragged behind the trees, had a small device in it. It was glowing red. Something was wrong. Suddenly, the alien mother opened her eyes. The signal. She said in his mind, it sent a signal. They know we're here. John's blood turned cold. Who are they? He asked. The mother sat up slowly. Her eyes were sad. Hunters. They want my children. They want power. They destroy everything. She looked at her twins and then at John. You are our only hope now. John didn't speak. He looked at her, then at the door above. Outside, the wind blew hard. In the distance, far beyond the trees, something moved. Something big. Watching. It was 3:47 a.m. The clock on John's wall ticked louder than usual. Down in the basement. Voo. Silence was heavy, like something dangerous was just outside. John sat on the old wooden stairs, not sure what he was waiting for, but he could feel it. Something was coming. The alien mother lay on a mattress, her eyes half open. Her skin glowed faintly in the dark. Her twin children had fallen asleep beside her. curled up like tired kittens. John had tried to clean their wounds with warm water. He had wrapped the boy's burned hand with a piece of cloth. He didn't know if it helped. Their biology was a mystery. He didn't sleep. He couldn't. That small red device from the pod, it was now in his tool shed, covered under metal sheets. But he knew the signal was already sent. They know we're here. That voice still echoed in his head. Her voice, calm yet full of fear. Morning came. John went upstairs, carefully looking outside. Everything looked normal. Birds, trees, wind, but he noticed a black SUV parked 2 blocks down the road. It wasn't there yesterday. He didn't have neighbors close by. And no one ever parked there, ever. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. Mr. John Evans. This is the Department of Atmospheric Science. We detected strange activity near your land last night. We'd like to ask a few questions. John didn't reply. He stared at the message for a long time. Then he turned the phone off. Back in the basement, the alien mother was awake. They are near, she said. Your world calls them ... agents, but they're not human. John sat down across from her. Why are they after you? She looked at her children and spoke softly in his mind. They want what's inside them. My twins are born different, not just alien. Evolved. We escaped the lab where they were. Made. John's face turned pale. You mean they're experiments? They are hope, she corrected. And danger. If they are caught, your world ends too. John couldn't understand it all, but he knew one thing. He had to keep them hidden. That night, John moved the alien family to the abandoned storm cellar behind his house. No one used it anymore. It was deeper, safer. He blocked the entrance. With old garden tools and crates, he brought them water, bread, and an old radio. The twins liked music. It calmed them. They didn't speak, but they smiled when the song Imagine played. John almost forgot they weren't human. 3 days passed. Every night, the same SUV came, parked, watched, left. Then one afternoon, a man in a black suit knocked on John's door. Mr. Evans? The man asked. We're with the Environmental Hazard Response Team. Routine check. Mind if we take a look around? John forced a smile. Everything okay? Just reports of falling debris. Could be satellite fragments. Dangerous stuff. Might carry radiation. John stepped aside, but kept his eyes sharp. 2 other men walked past him into the backyard. They didn't find the pod. John had buried it under mud and leaves, but one of them stopped near the shed. He stared at the walls, then slowly walked away. Back at the door, the agent smiled. Call us if you see anything strange. We'll be around. The SUV drove off. John closed the door and locked every bolt. That night, something strange happened. John heard a crash from the cellar. He ran down, heart racing. The alien twins were glowing, both of them, their eyes bright like stars. Floating objects spun around them. Books, bottles, even a hammer. The mother was on her knees, weak again. They're growing, she said. Their power's waking. John stepped back. They're not safe here anymore, are they? She looked up. Her eyes held deep sadness. Nowhere is safe anymore. Suddenly, outside the cellar, a branch snapped. John froze. The mother grabbed the twins and pulled them close. John ran upstairs and peeked through the window. In the distance, beyond the trees, he saw something. Not human. Tall, thin, with glowing red eyes. Watching. The lights in the house flickered. Not once, not twice, but 5 times. Then everything went dark. John stood frozen near the window. Outside, the red-eyed creature was gone. But the silence it left behind was loud. Too loud. He grabbed a flashlight and rushed down to the storm cellar. What he saw there made him stop in his tracks. The twins were floating in the air. Not standing. Not jumping. Floating, eyes glowing like tiny suns. Objects spinning around them in slow motion. A wrench, a water bottle, even a metal toolbox. The alien mother lay on the ground, weak and whispering words in a language John couldn't understand. The air was heavy, thick with static energy. John's skin tingled just by stepping closer. Then, one of the twins looked at him, and suddenly, everything dropped. The floating objects fell. The lights blinked back on. And both children dropped gently to the floor, as if gravity had forgotten them just for a moment. John's heart was beating fast. He knelt beside the mother. Her skin was pale, and her breathing shallow. "What just happened?" he asked. She opened her eyes slowly. "Their powers are growing, faster than I expected." John looked at the children. They looked back, not scared, not angry, just calm, too calm. "They didn't mean to do that," the mother said. "It happens when they feel danger or strong emotions." John nodded. Then they must have felt something, because there was someone watching this place. The mother's eyes narrowed. "Then we must move again." But before John could speak, the twin girl walked up to him. She held out her tiny blue hand. John hesitated, then held his palm out to Dot. As their hands touched, images flooded his mind. Not memories, not dreams, visions, flashes of planets burning, ships falling from the sky, a black shadow covering Earth, screams, fire, silence, and then her. The same girl, older, standing in front of a bright light, holding back the darkness. The vision ended in seconds. But John dropped to his knees, gasping. He looked at the little girl again. "What was that?" The mother spoke gently. "She showed you what's coming. Is that Earth?" "If they take the twins, yes." John sat down. His hands were shaking. He was just a simple man, a mechanic, no family, no special skills. He never believed in fate or aliens or saving the world. And now, he was their only shield over the next few days. John turned his house into a safe zone. He blocked the windows, added secret locks, and kept emergency bags ready. He also began to teach the twins simple human words: water, food, safe, run. They learned fast. The boy could float things. The girl could see things, future things. But one power scared John the most. One night, while changing the bandage on the boy's hand, he cut his own finger. A deep cut. The boy looked at it, eyes glowing faintly, and touched it. In seconds, the wound was gone, healed, clean. John didn't even feel pain. Later that night, the mother explained, "They can heal others, and one day, maybe even themselves. But every gift has a cost." "What cost?" John asked. She didn't answer, but in her eyes, John saw something. Fear or guilt. That same night, John went outside to breathe. The sky was clear again. Stars everywhere. Then, he saw it. A dark drone, silent, high up, watching. He rushed inside. The aliens weren't safe anymore. He didn't wait till morning. John packed food, blankets, and led the mother and twins to his truck. They left the old house behind. Driving into the night, John didn't know where he was going. But he knew one thing: the hunters were coming. And his little alien family, no matter how strange, needed him more than ever. Suddenly, the girl twin whispered one word in soft, broken English: home. John looked at her in the mirror. "Where is your home?" he asked gently. She pointed at the sky. But then, she pointed at him. And smiled. The dream felt too real. John was running through a dark forest. The ground shook. Behind him, loud footsteps. Growling, something was chasing him. He turned around and saw it. A black, insect-like creature with glowing red eyes and long metallic arms. It opened its mouth, but no sound came out. Instead, he heard a voice, not his own. "Give them to us, or your world burns next." John woke up, covered in sweat, but the sound was still there. It wasn't a dream anymore. A loud thud came from outside the cabin. Another. Then silence. John rolled out of bed and grabbed the shotgun he hadn't used in years. The twins were already awake. They stood close to their mother, eyes wide, glowing faintly in the dark. She spoke calmly, but with fear in her voice. "They found us," John whispered. "Take the back door. Get to the woods. Hide." The mother didn't argue. She picked up the twins and followed the emergency path they had planned 2 days ago. Just in case this day ever came. John opened the front door slowly. Nothing. Just the cold wind and rustling leaves. He stepped outside. Then, a flash of movement. Too fast to see clearly. Slam. He flew backward, hitting the cabin wall hard. Pain shot through his shoulder. A tall figure appeared. It wore black armor that shimmered like glass. Its face had no mouth, just a smooth surface with 2 blinking red dots where eyes should be. Another one stepped out of the shadows. And then a third. 3 of them, silent, precise. Hunters. One of them spoke, but its voice didn't come from its body. It came from inside John's mind. "You are not their blood. Step aside." John stood up, holding his shotgun tight. "You'll have to go through me." The hunter tilted its head, almost amused. The second hunter raised its arm, a long, sharp weapon folded out like a blade. Before it could strike, the cabin window shattered. The boy twin stood outside, eyes bright white. He raised his small hands. Boom! A shockwave of invisible force hit the hunters like a truck. Hunters flew backward and crashed into trees. John stared, frozen. The little boy stepped forward slowly, still glowing, breathing hard. But the third hunter remained standing. It moved fast, too fast, and knocked the child down with one strike. Before it could grab him, a beam of bright purple light hit it from behind. The alien mother, weak but fierce, stood on a rock, holding a strange glowing weapon from the pod. Her arms shook, but her aim was steady. She shouted in her language, words John couldn't understand, but they burned with anger. The hunter screamed, not in sound, but in energy, as it fell to its knees, sparks flying from its armor. John grabbed the boy and ran. The mother collapsed from exhaustion. But John carried her too. They didn't stop. Into the trees, into the dark. Hours passed, maybe more. Finally, at sunrise, they reached an old water plant, abandoned for years. John had found it weeks ago while searching for hiding spots. This would have to do. For now, inside the plant, John laid them down. The mother was breathing, but fading. "We can't keep running," he said. The twin sat beside her, silent. Then, the little girl reached into the mother's jacket and pulled out a small cube, glowing faint blue. John had seen it once before. The mother spoke, barely a whisper. "This is the message." "Message to who?" "To the ones who still listen." "On your planet?" She shook her head. "In the stars." The cube floated up. It projected stars, maps, strange shapes, then a warning symbol. John didn't understand most of it, but one thing was clear. If Earth falls, no planet is safe. "Can we send it?" he asked. The mother nodded weakly. "With power, a lot of it." John looked around the old plant. Wires, generators, panels. "I might be able to make it work. But it won't be quiet." "Then do it fast," she said. "They'll return stronger." Outside, the forest wind howled. But this time, it wasn't just wind. A black drone circled above the trees, scanning, watching. Then it blinked twice and disappeared into the sky. The hunters now knew where they were. The stars were fading. The sky turned from deep blue to gray as morning crept in. But even as light returned, the fear didn't fade. Not for John, not for the alien twins, not for their dying mother. Inside the old power plant, silence hung heavy. The alien cube, the message device, floated above the ground. It pulsed with soft blue light, waiting, needing power, needing time. Both were running out. John worked fast. He pulled open old control panels, stripped copper wires, and rerouted energy from an ancient generator. Sparks flew, the smell of burnt plastic filled the air. "Come on, come on," he whispered. The power plant was half dead, but John had a plan. Use the last backup battery to fire up the central antenna, the only thing tall enough to send a signal beyond Earth's orbit. The real question was, would anyone be listening? The alien mother watched him, her breaths shallow. "The message must go out," she said in a soft voice. "Others have fallen. Earth must prepare." John nodded, hands trembling. "But what exactly are we warning them about?" She looked at her twins, who were huddled together in the corner, eyes glowing faintly in the low light. "A species that doesn't invade to conquer," she said. "They invade to erase. Why? Because they believe only one race should survive the stars. Theirs." Just then, the cube lit up brighter, responding to the energy surge. Map appeared in the air, thousands of dots, glowing systems. Many already marked red. John stared at Earth's position, one of the last blue dots remaining. His heart dropped. "They've already destroyed this many planets." The mother nodded. "And they are coming here next." John tightened the last wire. The antenna outside began to spin slowly, humming to life. The cube's lights blinked fast. It was ready. John stepped back. "Send it." The cube hovered higher. A beam of light shot upward through the roof, straight into the sky. No sound, no explosion, just a column of light disappearing into the clouds. But far away, something heard it dot in the orbit above Earth. Beyond satellites and floating junk, a listening probe buried in moon rock blinked awake. For the first time in 600 years, it received a signal. It translated the message, and it replied, "Message received. Hold position, we are coming." Back in the plant, John watched as the cube dimmed and slowly returned to the ground. Did it work? He asked. The mother didn't answer right away, but her eyes softened, for the first time in days. She looked hopeful. Then a loud boom echoed outside. The ground shook. John ran to the broken door and peeked out. They were here. 3 hunter ships hovered over the trees, sharp black and silent like shadows made of metal. Red lights scanned the forest. One of them landed just 300 meters away. Figures stepped out. Not just hunters this time, but something worse. Collectors. They were taller, thinner, with longer limbs and faces like masks of bone. The mother's voice rang in John's head, urgent and shaking. "The collectors are not soldiers. They don't fight. Then what do? They take." John rushed back inside. "We have to move." But the mother shook her head. "I can't run anymore." She looked at her children. "But they must." John crouched down. "I'll take them. I'll protect them." The mother placed her hand on his chest. A faint glow spread across his skin. "You are their shield now. This mark will hide you for a little while." He looked down. A soft pattern glowed on his shirt, then vanished. "You're not coming with us, are you?" She smiled sadly. "No, but they will remember." She gave the twins one final look. Her lips moved, speaking their language, slow, loving, final words. Then she stood tall, alone, and walked toward the entrance of the power plant. John took the twins and led them through the emergency tunnel in the back. As they disappeared into the dark, the mother raised her hand. Her body glowed bright, brighter than the sun. Outside, the hunters approached, and then, a flash. The entire plant exploded in a wave of purple-blue energy, knocking ships from the sky, turning trees to ash. Her final gift. John looked back from the woods. Fire and light filled the sky. The twins didn't cry, but they held his hands tightly. The mark on his chest pulsed once, then faded. He whispered, "I'll keep you safe, no matter what." Far above Earth, in deep space, a ship opened its eyes. The message had been received. Earth was no longer alone. The fire was still burning. Smoke rose behind the trees like a signal to the sky. The power plant was gone. Nothing remained of it. Or of her. John kept walking, his arms around the alien twins. They hadn't spoken, but their eyes said everything. They had felt her die. Not through sound, through energy, through something deeper. A bond beyond words. By nightfall, John reached a cave hidden deep in the cliffs, a place no one had used in years. It was cold, wet, but safe. For now, he built a small fire and covered the twins in blankets. They sat beside him, silent. He stared at the flames, thinking about her, the alien mother who gave everything to protect them. She didn't scream. She didn't beg. She just chose. You are their shield now. The words repeated in his mind like a quiet echo. The boy finally broke the silence. One word whispered, "Why?" John looked at him. The twins had only just begun to speak human words. They didn't speak much, but this word was loud. "Because she loved you," John said gently. "She knew they would come. She knew she wouldn't survive, but she gave you a chance." The girl reached out and touched John's hand. A vision flashed in his mind of her mother smiling and fading into light. That night, John couldn't sleep, not because of fear, but because of what the twins told him without saying a single word. The message worked. Someone heard it. Someone far from Earth. But they also showed him something else. A countdown. A fleet was coming, not from Earth, but from the darkness between stars. Not days. Not weeks. Hours. The next morning, John knew what he had to do. The twins were not weapons, not soldiers, but they were the key to stopping the enemy. Their energy, their connection, their vision. They could awaken something hidden, something buried under Earth long before humans existed. The alien mother never got to finish explaining it. But now, the twins were ready. John led them to an ancient crater in the forest. It wasn't on any map, but the twins had shown him exactly where to go, in their strange way, through shared thoughts and silent dreams. Inside the crater, stone walls stood in perfect circles. Symbols older than any human language glowed when the twins stepped near them. The girl raised her hand. The stone moved. Not with machines, but with will. A hidden door opened. They went inside. Underground. Lights came on as they walked. John couldn't believe what he was seeing. It wasn't just a bunker. It wasn't even alien technology. It was something living. The walls pulsed. The floor was soft like flesh but cold like metal. In the center of the room was a large device, round, sleeping. The twins approached it, and it woke up. A soft hum filled the air. Lights formed a spiral. A voice spoke, not from a speaker, but from inside John's head. Energy source matched. Twin code accepted. Activation ready. John took a step back. "What is this?" The girl answered, softly. "A guardian." Outside, in the sky above Earth, a shadow appeared. Not a ship, a fleet. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Ships shaped like claws, wings, knives, each one glowing red underneath, like something evil had grown a heartbeat. They weren't coming to talk. They weren't coming to invade. They came to erase. In the forest above the bunker, black ships landed. Hunters walked out, scanning the ground. One of them placed a strange device on the ground. It started digging. They knew where the twins were. Inside, the Guardian device started to glow brighter. A low voice rumbled. "Defense system ready. Requires host." John looked at the twins. They looked back at him. He didn't need to ask. He already knew what had to happen. "It needs one of you to connect with it." The boy stepped forward. The girl pulled him back. They looked at John. He nodded. "I'll do it." The twins hesitated. The boy touched the Guardian. Light burst from the core. It entered John like lightning. He screamed, fell to his knees, then stood back up. Changed. His body glowed with lines of silver and blue. His eyes were white. His skin burned like metal. The voice inside him whispered, "You are now the shield." Outside, the ground broke open. Hunters fell back. Ships rose in panic. From beneath the earth, something ancient rose, tall, glowing, made of stone and energy. And inside it, John, the war for Earth had begun, and the first shot was lit by a father's sacrifice. The sky had no stars that night, not because they were gone, but because they were hidden behind the wreckage of war. The ground was scorched. Trees snapped in half. Smoke rose like ghosts from the broken forest. And in the middle of it all, where a crater now burned with blue fire, stood a giant stone figure. Still, silent, glowing. Inside it, John's body floated. Alive, but no longer just human. Had become something else. Not a soldier, not an alien, a guardian. The battle had ended just hours ago. The enemy fleet didn't expect a defense this strong, not from a single man and 2 children. But John, connected to the ancient core, awakened Earth's forgotten defense system. When he rose, the skies lit up. The ships turned. Many tried to flee. They didn't get far, but the cost was high. Far from the battlefield, in the ruins of the old forest, the alien twins sat quietly inside a hidden chamber. Safe, alive, their clothes were torn, their faces covered in ash. But their eyes were bright. They watched the blue light in the distance, John's light, and knew he had kept his promise. Hours later, the giant stone guardian returned to the ground. It cracked open slowly. John fell out, coughing, burned and exhausted, but alive. The twins ran to him. The boy hugged him tight. The girl placed her glowing hands on his chest. Healed. Again. John looked at them. "Is it over?" he asked softly. The girl looked up at the sky. For now. In the following days, the world returned to silence. The enemy ships were gone. The secret remained hidden. No news reports, no governments involved. Whatever John and the twins had awakened had handled it quietly, but something had changed. Earth itself felt different, awake. John rebuilt what he could. He fixed the cabin. He found books, old tools, and food. He created a space where the twins could grow, not as weapons, but as children. They played. They laughed. They learned words like bird, safe, and hope, and sometimes they called him something he never expected to hear. Father. One evening, as the sunset burned orange and gold, the girl placed her hand on the old message cube. It lit up again, not to send a message, but to receive one. A voice came through, calm, ancient, familiar. We heard the signal. We saw the sacrifice. Earth is no longer alone. The stars above twinkled brighter. Somewhere out there, someone was watching, listening. Ready. John sat on the porch, watching the sky. The boy drew shapes in the dirt with a stick. The girl painted with crushed flowers on the wood. The world felt peaceful again. But the kind of peace that comes after a storm. A peace that doesn't forget. Suddenly, a sound filled the air. A soft hum high above. A light ship passed through the sky. Fast, silent. Not a threat. Just a sign. They weren't alone anymore, and John knew if the enemy ever returned, they wouldn't face Earth the same way again, because now Earth had its own defenders. He looked at the twins. They smiled back. The boy pointed up at the stars. The girl whispered, "One day we go there too." John nodded. One day, together. And in the sky, beyond the clouds, something moved quietly, not dark this time, but bright. A new fleet, a new hope. And Earth's story was just beginning.